Hello, you're watching Ellie from Elementary Paper Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK. So for my next class, my ladies wanted to make cards using scraps again. And a couple of weeks ago, I did a video showing you how I make card with just ends of pieces of designer series paper, just strips. And we made a card like that. Well, what I'm going to do for them this time is a bit different. So I wanted to use geometric shapes to use bits of card that were left over. So I've chosen these stitched nested labels dies. Sadly, these are actually retired now, but any dies that you have or punches that are a geometric shape will work for this because you need something that slots together. So you haven't got anything like this, just a rectangle would be fine. So I thought I'd use these today. Now I've used the second from smallest die this time, and in retrospect I think I will go for the next size up because it would be quicker, because you need quite a lot of these to cover the card. But that was my starting base, and incidentally these came as a bundle with the Free as a Bird stamp set. This is still current. So that was my starting point. Now I took a piece of basic white cardstock. Now this measures 5.5 inches by 3 7/8. And the cardstock I had hanging around on my desk was Melon Mambo, Soft Succulent, and Evening Evergreen. So those three colours really do go together well. Now to make them more interesting, I chose some embossing folders from Stampin' Up. These two come in a pack together, and there's the splats and the stripes. And this one is a standalone product, and this is the gingham embossing folder. So to give it some continuity, I used the same embossing folder for each colour. So the soft succulent, I used the splats. For the Melon Mambo, I used the stripes, and for the Evening Evergreen, I used the gingham. I covered my piece of cardstock with some double-sided adhesive sheet to make it easier to stick these down. Now I did start off using glue, and then I decided I didn't want to go that way. So you will see when I peel this off, you'll see a mark where I stuck the pink ones down and then decided I wasn't going to do it that way. So if we peel off this backing paper, which can be a little bit fiddly, so there you'll see where I did start off already by placing a pink piece, and I did draw a line down here and the other way to get the center mark of my cardstock, because I thought that might help me. And then I'm just going to pop this as centrally as I can get it. Maybe if I'm going to put my finger at the top of the card to make sure that the shape is right at level with the top of the card, and simply stick that one down. And then I'm going to bring the bottom, the tape up off the bottom. It's always a good idea to work with the paper. Don't unravel it all, because then you've got somewhere to lean without getting your fingers stuck to it. So I'm going to come down and repeat the same thing again. So get my finger at the end there to make sure it's level, because it did just happen to work out quite by accident that these, I think I'm going to have to take it all off now. It worked out that their 4 would fit perfectly on here. So I think if I do that one there, and then my dark green Evening Evergreen in there. Now it's a case of evenly spacing all my colours into all the spaces, and then fitting them carefully, leaving the same amount of space between each one. So I'm just going to place those on and speed this up a bit so that it's not so boring for you. And then I simply turn the card over and cut off all the pieces at the end where it's overlapping. I could actually have cut one less of these and just use the other half here, but I didn't think of that beforehand. So there's my card covered with scraps of card that otherwise might have been thrown away. So it's just a pretty way of using up your leftovers. So I'm going to come in now and use the gilded leaf, which you've seen before. I keep it in this container, a nice deep container, so it does actually keep the flakes down off my desk. I'm just going to see if I can use what's in there before I actually put any extra ones in. And the trick is to get them to lie down on your work and just press straight away. Don't move them around too quickly. They need to sit there for a couple of seconds to actually stick to that double-sided adhesive that you've put on the cardstock. And they sit there, and just firmly press them down before you you're not rubbing it in, you're pressing it on. The rubbing comes later to take the excess away. So I will speed this up again in a minute, just to, as I say, make it less boring for you, because you can see how it's done. And by using this pastry brush, I can just knock off all the excess flakes to reveal the beautiful gold. I'm just going to knock it into the container like so, and that's my gold leafing finished. So just popping everything back in, close the lid down gently, and hopefully not too many flakes have escaped from my box. Now I have been told, I haven't tried this yet, but if I go over this with my bone folder, it will shine it all up. So another Stampin' Up demonstrator said if you do this, it makes sure that not just makes sure all your flakes are down, but it buffs it up a bit. And I do love the effect of this gilded flake. It doesn't give an even gold sort of shine finish like the embossing powder. It gives a lovely well, gilded effect like you see on old furniture. So some parts of it are very gold and shiny, and other bits are sort of matte flaky finish. It's lovely. It gives that antique-y look. So yeah, just buff it up a little bit with the bone folder. There we go. And that is the piece finished, which I'm sure you'll agree looks really, really pretty. So much better than just a plain piece of cardstock. And we made it from scraps, purely from scraps. Now, having done that, I now realise that I don't like the Evening Evergreen card base, which is what I plan to use. I think it would look better on a white card base. So here's my card base, a piece of basic white measuring 5 3/4 inches by 4 1/8, sorry. And I'm just going to pop this on with some Tombow. My trusty tweezers. So placing that on and trying to get an even border all the way round. That's about 1/8 of an inch all the way round. And then I'm going to turn it over and just use my bone folder to press down there. And while that's setting up, I'm going to use the lovely big stamp Thanks, which comes from Artistically Inked. And I'm going to use the Melon Mambo to match that cardstock. And I've got a scrap of basic white here. So I'll stamp this on. Really lovely font to this, thank you. I think it's lovely. Okay, I was going to use one of the matching dies for this, but I actually think it would look nicer if it's a different shape, more of a block shape. So I'm just going to use my trimmer to cut this down to size. Let's just pop my card out of the way for a minute. I think I'll just flag the end there. So just come up in the middle. Let's just get it on here to find the center point, which is about there. So I'm going to cut up to the middle, very close to the stamping, and then cut from the corner in to that cut mark. And then my flag should be equal both sides. There. And we'll just pop that on top of our card, and I think that sets it all off. I think I might use some of our foam. So this is adhesive foam on here. So I'm just going to use a piece of that to stick it on the back here. Dimensionals are great, but you'd need quite a lot on the back of here. And then I just peeled the back off that one and then pop it on there. So you've got quite a simple card, but very effective with all those lovely different colours on the front, but they do match in perfectly. A lovely way to use up all your scraps. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and I hope it encourages you to look at your desk and see what you've got hanging around and get it used up. So if you'd like to purchase anything from the Stampin' Up catalogue, then if you look below in the description box, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see a link to my online store. I'll actually put some links to the digital catalogues as well, so you can browse those at your leisure. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and share amongst all your friends and all your contacts. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.